Welcome to the StockMatter.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your Stockmatter Brian Johnson. I'm making professional trading simple. And everything was pretty much paint drying until the end of the day. We had a very big move at the end of the day, so a good finish if you're a bear in this market. And once again, the resistance holds. The trading range is still intact, even after an early morning gap up. I like to watch the first 15 minutes of the day, and did so today, and then thought, well, maybe today's the day we break through this upper resistance. Waited and waited and waited, never ever did get another entry to try it to the long side. So I sat around on my hands all day long till the end of the day, and then was able to pick up a little bit of trading at the very end of the day. I have been, as a disclaimer, I have had puts bought on the market for quite a while. I'm now out into January and March put options on the SPY. Not a major, well, depends on who you're talking to, I guess, but not a major position for myself. But still, I've got some. I have got some interest out there. I have had a couple of requests. Now, last night I decided to take my wife on a date. We got to go out to dinner, which consisted of a wonderful ambiance of Taco Bell. And I had the number 8, which is just soft shell tacos, which, by the way, I highly recommend. Taco Bell does a beautiful job on their tacos. And we went to the movie The Blind Side. Sandra Bullock was awesome. If you guys have not seen this movie, you have to go see it. Especially if, I don't ever cry at movies, but this one didn't make me cry either. But it almost made me cry. And so that's pretty good for me, actually, to almost cry at a movie. So I recommend it to everybody. Sandra Bullock, I will also say, is in my top 5. If she's actually my top person celebrity to hang out with for a day. If I could hang out with any celebrity for a day, it's actually Sandra Bullock. She just looks like she'd be a whole lot of fun to hang out with and just kind of chum around with for a day. So she's actually at the top of my wife's list too. So if anybody knows Sandra Bullock, please forward this video on to her, would you please? Maybe we can set something up where we can just go hang out with her for a day. Just hang out. That's all I want to do. Nothing big. Doesn't have to be anything spectacular. Anyway, I'm sure all of you are best friends with Sandra Bullock. Just go ahead and put that in. If you haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend it. All right. So anyway, I told you that story to tell you this story. I get back last night, and late last night, I have a lot of emails for some reason all of a sudden out of nowhere. And a lot of them were actually, I had kind of a discussion with some people about FAS and FAZ, which I'm going to do a quick video on actually, just about the whole makeup of it and what I look for in that particular index. So that'll be coming. I'm going to put that up on Slope. So for those of you that are Slope viewers, you'll be watching that. Hopefully that'll be, I don't know, whenever Tim will post it. Tonight or tomorrow, whenever he gets around to it. It's up to him. Don't worry about that kind of stuff. And the other one I had was a lot of people are interested in the Russells, especially my subscribers. So for my subscribers that are watching today's video, I only do videos for my subscribers on Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So my next video for them is tomorrow. But over the weekend, I am adding the Russells to my list of indices that I will be following. So for my subscribers watching this, just know that over the weekend I will add the Russells per your request to that. So, okay, now where was I? Wow, boy, there's my ADD kicking in. Did you guys just see a chicken? Anyway, here is the trading range we have been watching within the Dow. This one has just flattened out. Notice how it was in this channel before. Now it is just flattened out. We had some good breaks to the downside. Actually, great entry for even an intraday quick short. On the indices this afternoon, there were some stocks that played very nicely as well today, and we'll get to those in just a second. If we flip to a really quick daily, you can see that this overhead area is holding here. We never actually got a touch. Let's see. We never really actually got a touch of this upper trend line, but that's okay. That just means, maybe the bears are going to bring it back down into the 20-day. That would be my first order. Maybe we see that down there tomorrow morning. Maybe it gaps down to that 323. That's only that could very well happen after today's action, and it's only about 30 points away, so that could very well happen in the morning. Watch to see where this opens. Ultimately, if the bears bring it back down, you're looking to see if it breaks this 10-250 first, and then the 10-200 on the Dow. That could mean a more major pullback for the bears. I keep talking about risk to the upside, and I had somebody ask me about that today. And what I mean by that is I believe there is more risk in going long than there is in going short up at these levels. So my put positions and my short positions have a much wider stop than I put on my long positions. So if I'm going long the indices, I'm keeping a pretty tight stop on all of my longs, and in most cases, if not all cases, I am out by the end of the day. I don't like to hold long overnight. As for my short positions, because I've bought my puts out for January and March, I'm really not as worried about those positions at this point. Just simply because, as I said, I really believe that there's more risk to the upside at this point than there is to the downside on your position. So I hope that clears things up for those of you that might have been wondering about what I meant by risk to the upside. And that's precisely what I'm getting at. Is my long positions I'm queasy about holding overnight, where my shorts I'm not quite as nervous about those. With that being said, I have to remember that the charts are not giving me anything that's super bearish yet. However, it's just my play and the way I'm managing my plays right now, and that's I'm a little bit more I'm a little bit wider on my stops with my puts than I am with my calls at this point, or my long positions, as the case might be, depending on what I'm playing during the day. So keep that in mind. Just remember, we are still caught within this trading range here, looking for a pullback, 10,250 or 10,200 to get below on the Dow. Here on the NASDAQ, a pullback as well. Look at this move. Never made these new highs, as I've been talking about for a while. This pulled back today, but right into heavy, heavy support. The next level below it, though, below 1780, would put you back at 1770 for those that play the Qs, play the NASDAQ, be watching that. NDX on a daily, not able to get into this thing. Again, now we are back to basically the 20-day moving average. We will be watching that closely, but a break below that takes us back down to at least the 1770 level, and maybe this trend line holds this time. Maybe this was the kiss of death up here. We need a little bit more verification for me to call it the kiss of death, but a follow-through day tomorrow would certainly add to that case. Weekly, yeah, okay, we're getting closer, but we won't know more until the end of the week. Maybe this closes back down in a doji, which still looks like a pullback on a weekly time frame. Still need a more major pullback to at least the 1700 area for me to start looking at a more bearish case on the weekly. SPX on a 60-minute, here it was, holding well up here again around that 1012. Look at how we got all the way up to 1117 today. Yesterday about 1115. Today 1117, but not able to hold these levels. Lots and lots of selling coming in up at these levels, holding it down. The bulls just not able to really take control up here, which, of course, gives it, well, God, it's so hard to tell. But there's a lot of selling up here, which means that the bulls just aren't being as aggressive as they were back in these areas here as we saw the run up. And you have to, those are the areas I'm watching. As it breaks this resistance, how come the bulls aren't holding this area? They've got every opportunity at this point, you would think, to really take control, and they have not been able to do it. They just are not as aggressive as they were back here. So now with this move down this afternoon, let's see if that bodes into the bear camp for at least the next day or two. I'm not saying that this is going to be P3 or one of the big major moves, but we have to look at this action up here and say, where are the bulls? How come they didn't take over? Look, we broke these levels and they were not able to hold. So now, got to give props to the bear side for keeping it below this major overhead resistance area and now pulling it back down today. Let's see if the selling ensues again tomorrow, and maybe we get back into these levels here, which is at 1085. Anything below 1100, then of course 1095, 1090, 1085, about every 5 points down below there. Be watching that for your plays tomorrow. From a daily standpoint, here's those orange lines holding that trading range very nicely back to about the 20-day moving average. And on the weekly, still nothing really broken here for the bull side on a weekly time frame. Going to need to see a bigger pullback down into 1050, which is a huge move in the markets. But that's what I'm going to need to see from a weekly standpoint to really get more bearish on this on the weekly time frames. VIX on a daily, look how it held down here at support, but just Fear returning, not fear returning. This still doesn't tell me that there's a lot of fear returning to the markets. Got to get way up and over these areas to really see a lot more fear come back in. VIX weekly moving sideways. Wait to see what that looks like at the end of Friday. Apple, look at the big tumble in Apple again this afternoon. Just